to our future. Yes.
May he rest in peace soon.
Yes.
To 15 billion naira. To our future.
To 15 billion naira.
May he rest in peace soon.
The champagne flowed like water through Chief Adewale Baker's Ikoyi mansion. 200 of Lagos's elite mingled on the manicured lawns, their designer outfits glittering under strings of Edison bulbs that transformed the evening into something magical. Whale stood on the terrace, surveying his 45th birthday celebration with contentment that felt almost surreal. 45. He'd made it to 45, and despite the cancer diagnosis 6 months ago, he felt blessed. There's the birthday boy. Tun Williams, his lawyer and closest friend, appeared with 2 glasses of champagne. You're not supposed to be alone at your own party. Just taking it all in. Whale accepted the glass. Sometimes I can't believe this is my life. 20 years ago, I was sleeping in a one-room apartment in Surulere. Now look at this. You earned it, brother. Every naira. Tun clinked their glasses. And you're going to beat this illness. The best doctors, the best treatment, will fight it together. Whale felt his throat tighten. I don't know what I'd do without you, Tund. You've been there for me through everything these past 5 years. That's what friends do. Tun's smile was warm, genuine. Speaking of which, I finalized that we'll update you asked for. Everything is secure. If anything happens, and it won't, Nadia is completely taken care of. I appreciate that. She's been my rock through all this. As if summoned by her name, Nadia Baker glided across the terrace in a stunning gold evening gown that complemented her dark skin perfectly. At 42, she was still the most beautiful woman Whale had ever seen. The same woman who'd stolen his heart 20 years ago when they were both young and struggling. Darling, you're neglecting your guests. She kissed his cheek, her perfume familiar and comforting. Mrs. Adelik has been asking about you. I should make the rounds. Whale squeezed her hand. Have I told you how beautiful you look tonight? Only 3 times. Her laugh was light, musical, but I'll never get tired of hearing it. She moved through the crowd like she was born to it, playing hostess with practiced grace. Sometimes Whale still couldn't believe she'd come back to him, after everything that had happened between them all those years ago. 20 years ago, they'd been young and in love. Whale was trying to build his real estate business from nothing, working 18-hour days, dreaming big but delivering small. Nadia had been his girlfriend, his supporter, his everything, until she wasn't. I can't do this anymore, Whale, she'd said, standing in his tiny apartment with tears streaming down her face. I can't wait for dreams that might never come true. I need security now. She'd left him for Tund, already successful, already wealthy. The betrayal had nearly destroyed Whale. His girlfriend and his mentor, Tund, had been advising his fledgling business. Together, it had taken years to recover. But Whale had channeled his heartbreak into work, built his empire, became the billionaire everyone said he'd never be. And then, 8 years ago at a charity gala, he'd seen her again. Reminiscing, Obiora Nwosu appeared at Whale's elbow. His childhood friend looked sharp in his tailored suit, but his expression was guarded. Always. Whale pulled Obi into a brief hug. Thanks for coming, brother. Wouldn't miss it. Obi glanced across the lawn to where Nadia was laughing with a group of society women. How are you really feeling? About the diagnosis? Some days better than others. But I'm not ready to give up yet. Whale followed his friend's gaze. You're still not comfortable around her, are you? Obi chose his words carefully. I just remember what she did to you back then. How destroyed you were. That was 20 years ago. Obi, people change. She's different now. Is she? Obi's voice was quiet. Or are you different? Different tax bracket, different circumstances. Don't do this. Not tonight. Whale's jaw tightened. She explained everything back then. She was young, scared, made a mistake. And she spent the last 5 years proving her love. If you say so. Obi raised his glass. Just be careful, brother. I've got your back, always. The moment passed as Samuel Martins, Wales senior account manager from First Bank, approached with a gift bag. Chief, happy birthday. Samuel was energetic, ambitious, everything a good banker should be. I wanted to give you this personally. Inside the bag was an expensive leather portfolio. For all those important documents, Samuel said, I've also prepared a comprehensive report on your accounts. Everything is optimized for maximum security and growth. Your family will want for nothing. Thank you, Samuel. Your dedication is appreciated. It's my pleasure, Chief. Serving clients like you is why I love my job. Samuel's smile was bright, seemingly sincere. As the evening progressed, the party reached its crescendo. A 3-tier birthday cake was wheeled out, and Tund insisted on making a toast. Everyone. Tund called for attention. I've known Chief Adewale Bakare for 5 years now, and I can honestly say he's one of the finest men I've ever met. Generous, hardworking, and loyal to a fault. He raised his glass. Whale, you're facing a battle right now, but if anyone can win it, it's you. You're a fighter. You always have been. To Whale, may this be the first of many, many more birthdays. To Whale, the crowd echoed. Whale felt humbled by the love in the room. These people, his friends, his colleagues, his wife, they all believed in him. They were his family. After the cake was cut, Nadia presented her gift, a sleek wooden box containing bottles of expensive-looking vitamins and supplements. What's this? Whale examined the bottles. Custom supplements from a Swiss clinic. Nadia's eyes were bright with hope. They're supposed to boost your immune system during cancer treatment. Dr. Meyer in Zurich recommended them specifically for your condition. You went all the way to Switzerland for vitamins? I'd go to the moon if it meant helping you get better. She kissed him softly. I can't lose you, Whale. Not when I just got you back. He pulled her close, overwhelmed with gratitude. I love you so much. I love you, too. Now, promise me you'll take these every day. Morning and evening. I promise. As the party finally wound down near midnight, Whale stood in his study, looking at the gifts. The portfolio from Samuel. The vitamins from Nadia. The updated will from Tund. Everyone was taking care of him, making sure he'd be okay. Making sure his family would be secure if the worst happened. He should feel grateful. He did feel grateful. But something Obi had said nagged at him. Just remember what she did to you back then. Whale shook his head. That was just Obi being overprotective. Nadia had apologized 100 times for leaving him 20 years ago. She'd been young and stupid. She'd made a mistake. And she'd spent the last 5 years proving that her love was real. Still, a sudden impulse hit him. He wanted to add Obi to his will. His oldest friend, his brother in everything but blood. He deserved something for his decades of loyalty. Tomorrow, he'd talk to Tund tomorrow about updating the will. 3 days later, the ringing phone pulled Whale from his morning coffee. Tund's name flashed on the screen. Brother. Tund's voice was warm. I was thinking we should finalize that will update you mentioned yesterday when you called me. Adding Obi, right? Yes, exactly. I've been meaning to call you. Can you come to my office today? Say around 2 p.m.? We'll get it sorted. Perfect. I'll be there. Whale felt good about the decision. Obi deserved recognition for his loyalty, not like the others who'd come into his life only after he made money. Obi had been there when Whale had nothing. At 11 a.m., his phone rang again. His construction site manager panicked. Chief, we have a problem. The concrete delivery for the Lekki project. The supplier sent the wrong specifications. If we pour this, the entire foundation will be compromised. We need you here now. Whale's heart sank. The Lekki project was his biggest development. A foundation failure would cost millions and delay everything by months. I'm on my way. He called Tund immediately. I'm sorry, brother. Emergency at the construction site. I can't make 2 p.m. Can we reschedule tomorrow? Of course. Handle your business. Tomorrow works fine. Thanks for understanding. The drive to Lekki took 40 minutes through Lagos traffic. Whale arrived expecting a disaster. But when his site manager walked him through the issue, the solution was obvious. A simple miscommunication between supplier and foreman. Get the correct specs from the supplier. They can deliver by end of day. Whale instructed. Problem solved. His manager looked relieved. Thank you, Chief. I'm sorry for the panic. Better to catch it now than after we pour. Whale checked his watch. 1:30 p.m. The crisis had taken less than an hour to resolve. He was not far from Victoria Island where Tun's office was located. A thought occurred to him. Why not surprise his friend? They could still do the meeting today. Tun would appreciate that Whale made time despite the emergency. It would only take 20 minutes to update the will. Then both matters would be settled. He didn't call ahead. It would be a nice surprise. That's what friends did. Showed up for each other. The office building parking garage was quiet at 1:45 p.m. Whale parked and took the elevator to the 10th floor, feeling pleased with himself. Crisis handled, friendship honored, will updated. A productive day. The reception area was empty, the receptionist likely at lunch. Whale walked toward Tun's corner office, planning his entrance. Maybe he'd knock and say, "Surprise! Business finished early. Let's do this now." Then he heard the voices. Not just Tun, multiple people. A woman's laugh, familiar, but it couldn't be. Whale approached the conference room. The door was slightly ajar. Light spilled out. Voices carried clearly. He looked through the gap and froze. 3 people sat around the conference room table with coffee cups and documents spread before them. Nadia, Tun, Samuel, his wife, his lawyer, his banker, meeting together, in secret. Are you sure he's not coming? That was Nadia's voice. He called himself. Tun sounded relaxed, confident. Urgent business at the construction site in Lekki. He'll be stuck there for hours. We have at least until 4 p.m. I still think this is risky, meeting here. Samuel fidgeted with his coffee cup. Relax. Tun leaned back in his chair. He thinks I'm sitting here waiting for our meeting tomorrow. This is the perfect window. He's across town dealing with his concrete crisis. We're completely safe. Nadia laughed, sharp, cold, nothing like the gentle laugh she gave Whale. The vitamins are working faster than expected. He could barely get out of bed this morning. Whale's hand gripped the doorframe. Vitamins? How much longer? Tun's voice was businesslike, casual, like they were discussing a real estate deal. Maybe 3 weeks, Nadia said. For at most, the arsenic is quite efficient. The world tilted. Whale presses back against the wall outside the door, his breath shallow. Arsenic. She said arsenic. And the accounts are ready? Tun continued. Everything's in place. Samuel's voice was nervous, but eager. The moment he's pronounced dead, I can start the transfers. Within 24 hours, 7 billion naira will be in the offshore accounts. Untraceable. Excellent. Tun raised his coffee cup. To the most profitable I've ever drafted. 15 billion naira, and all we had to do was wait for cancer to do most of the work. We helped it along. Nadia's voice held amusement. Those Swiss vitamins cost a fortune, but they're worth every naira. Who knew arsenic could be so expensive? They laughed. All 3 of them laughed. Can you believe he took me back? Nadia continued. After I left him for you 20 years ago, after I chose you because you had money and he had nothing, and then when he got rich, I waltzed back into his life with some sob story about making mistakes when I was young, and he just forgave me, married me. The stupid, sentimental fool. That sentimentality is about to make us rich. Tun's voice was cold, calculating. When he's gone, you inherit everything as his widow. I execute the will as his lawyer. Samuel facilitates the transfers as his banker. We each play our part perfectly. Grieving widow, loyal friend, dedicated banker. No one will question it. What about the Obi situation? Samuel asked. He mentioned adding him to the will. Tun waved it off. Irrelevant. By the time we would have updated the will, Whale will be dead. The current will stand. Everything to Nadia. Obi gets nothing. I almost feel bad, Nadia said, though her tone suggested otherwise. He really does love me. You didn't feel bad 20 years ago when you left him poor. Tun's voice held amusement. Don't develop a conscience now. Besides, you told me yourself, he's boring in bed, suffocatingly devoted, and exhausting with all his love and gratitude. True. Nadia laughed. I've been playing the perfect wife for 5 years. I deserve this money. I deserve a life with a man I actually want. With you. Tun reached across the table. Took her hand. Soon. 3 weeks in Dubai. New identities. New life. Everything we've planned. To our future, Nadia raised her cup. To 15 billion naira, Samuel added nervously. To the late Chief Adewale Bakare, Tun finished. May he rest in peace soon. They clinked cups like they were toasting at a celebration. Whale couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't process. His wife, the woman he'd forgiven, the woman he'd married, the woman he slept beside every night, was poisoning him. His lawyer, his friend, his confidant, the man he trusted with everything, was orchestrating his murder. His banker, the man who manages billions, was planning to steal it all. The vitamins, the birthday gift Nadia had given him with tears in her eyes and love in her voice. Arsenic, 3 weeks. That's how long they were giving him to live. His body moved on instinct. Back away. Silent. Careful. Don't let them hear. Don't let them see. He made it to the elevator. His hands shook so badly he could barely press the button. The doors closed. He descended. The parking garage felt surreal. His car seemed miles away. He got in, started the engine through muscle memory alone. The drive home was a blur of Lagos traffic that he didn't see. Horns he didn't hear, nothing registering except the voices echoing in his head. The arsenic is quite efficient. Stupid, sentimental fool. May he rest in peace soon. He pulled into his driveway at 2:15 p.m. The mansion looked the same. Beautiful. Peaceful. A lie. Everything was a lie. Whale walked inside. The house was empty. Quiet. Nadia wasn't home. She was still at Tun's office with the others, planning his death while thinking he was stuck at a construction site. He walked to the bedroom like a ghost, sat on the edge of the bed, stared at nothing. On the nightstand sat the wooden box from his birthday, the Swiss vitamins. With shaking hands, he opened it. Expensive-looking bottles, professional labels, vitamins A, B, C, D, immune boosters, cancer support supplements, poison, all of it, designed to look helpful while killing him. He'd been taking 2 capsules every morning and evening for 3 days. 48 hours of slow death. The sound of a car in the driveway jolted him. Whale looked out the window. Nadia's white Mercedes. She was home. His mind raced. She couldn't know. None of them could know that he knew. If they realized he'd overheard, they might accelerate their plan, might kill him immediately. No, he needed time, needed to think, needed to plan. Whale stood, straightened his clothes, controlled his breathing. When Nadia's key turned in the lock, he was walking down the stairs like everything was normal. Darling. She entered with shopping bags, her smile bright and loving. I didn't expect you home so early. How was the emergency at the site? Every instinct screamed at him to recoil from her touch, her voice, her presence. But he forced a smile. It was fine. Quick fix. Turned out to be a simple miscommunication. Oh, good. She set down her bags and came to him, wrapping her arms around his waist. You look tired. Are you feeling all right? The same arms that held him lovingly. The same hands that prepared his poison every morning. Just tired. Long day. She touched his forehead like a concerned wife. You're a bit warm. Come, sit. I'll make you some tea. And you haven't taken your afternoon vitamins yet. His stomach turned, but he couldn't refuse. Couldn't act different. That would be nice. Thank you. He sat at the kitchen table, watching her move around his kitchen. Boiling water, taking out cups, and from the wooden box, removing 2 capsules. Arsenic. She placed them before him with a glass of water and that loving smile. There you go. Don't forget to take them. Whale picked them up, looked at them, put them to his lips. Then, when she turned to pour the tea, he palmed them, slipped them into his pocket, pantomimed swallowing, drank the water. Good, she said, turning back. You're so good about taking them. Some men would resist. I want to get better, he said. The words tasted like ash. I want to fight this. And you will. We'll fight it together. She kissed his forehead. A Judas kiss. I love you so much, Whale. He forced the words out. I love you too. They spent the evening in domestic normalcy that felt like torture. Dinner together. Television. Her chatting about her day. I met Chioma for lunch, then did some shopping. All lies. She'd been at Tun's office planning his murder. At 10 p.m., she brought his evening vitamins. Last dose for the day, she said cheerfully. He took them, palmed them, disposed of them later in the bathroom, flushing them down the toilet while his hands shook with rage. Coming to bed, she called from the bedroom, the bed they shared, where she'd lie beside him, the man she was murdering, and sleep peacefully. In a minute, when he finally lay down, she curled against him like always. Within minutes, her breathing deepened into sleep. Whale stared at the ceiling, his mind a storm. The woman trying to kill him slept peacefully in his arms. His lawyer was stealing his legacy. His banker was robbing his accounts. And they thought he was too stupid, too trusting, too sick to notice. 3 weeks. They'd given him 3 weeks to live. But they'd made a mistake. A critical, fatal mistake. They'd underestimated him. They thought he was dying, weak, vulnerable. They thought love had made him blind. They thought sentimentality had made him stupid. They were wrong. The cancer was real. He was dying. But on his timeline, not theirs. And before he went, he'd make sure they lost everything. Their freedom, their money, their future. In the darkness, Chief Adewale Bakare made a decision. If they wanted him dead, he'd give them their wish. He'd die, officially, publicly, and then from beyond the grave, he'd destroy them. You want my money? He whispered to the woman sleeping peacefully against him. You want me dead? You'll get both. But the price will be everything you are, everything you have, everything you dreamed of. Tomorrow, his counterattack would begin. Tonight, he lay beside his murderer and plotted justice. The lion had discovered the hunters, and now the real hunt would begin. His wife is poisoning him. His lawyer is robbing him. His banker is betraying him. But now he knows. Smash that like and subscribe to AfricanTales by Zion. Next chapter is where Whale's silent investigation begins, and they have no idea he's hunting them. Turn on notifications. Whale woke to find Nadia already up, humming in the kitchen. The smell of breakfast wafted through the house. Eggs, toast, fresh orange juice. She was making his favorite meal. Or rather, she was preparing his poison. He lay in bed for a moment, adjusting to his new reality. Last night, he'd been a happy man celebrating his birthday with people he loved. This morning, he was a target living with his would-be killers. Darling, breakfast is ready. Nadia's voice was cheerful, loving, the same voice that had laughed about his death just hours ago. Whale dressed slowly, his mind working through a plan. He couldn't let them know he knew. Had to act normal. Had to appear to be getting weaker from the vitamins while actually staying strong. In the kitchen, Nadia had laid out a feast, and beside his plate sat 2 capsules and a glass of water. Your morning vitamins, she said brightly, kissing his cheek. Don't forget to take them. Whale picked up the capsules, examining them. They looked innocuous, harmless, just like the woman who'd given them to him. Expensive Swiss supplements, he said conversationally. Must have cost a fortune. You're worth it. Her smile was perfect. I'd spend anything to keep you healthy. To kill me faster, Whale thought, but he smiled back and raised the capsules to his mouth. Actually, let me get some food in my stomach first. Don't want to take them on an empty stomach. Of course. She turned to pour coffee. The moment her back was turned, Whale palmed the capsules into his napkin. When she turned around, he was chewing toast. Took them? She asked. Just now. Another lie. He was getting better at this. After breakfast, he excused himself to his study, claiming fatigue. Once alone, He pulled out his phone and stared at it. Who could he trust? Who in his life wasn't compromised? Obi, his childhood friend who'd never liked Nadia, who'd warned him, who'd been loyal for 46 years. Whale called him. Whale, everything okay? You sound strange. Can you meet me? Now. Alone? Don't tell anyone. There was a pause. You're scaring me. I'm scared too. Please, Obi. Your office. 1 hour. I'll be there. 60 minutes later, Whale sat in Obiora Nwosu's modest but comfortable office in Ikeja. His friend ran a successful import business, nothing like Whale's billions, but honest work that paid well. All right, you have my attention, Obi said, closing the door. What's going on? Whale told him everything. The late-night visit to Tun's office, the overheard conversation, the arsenic in the vitamins, the plan to steal his billions. With each word, Obi's face grew darker. I told you. Obi exploded when Whale finished. I told you she was using you. I told you not to trust her, but you wouldn't listen. I know. Whale's voice was hollow. You were right. I was a fool. No. Obi took a breath, forcing calm. You were in love. There's a difference. But Whale, brother, this is attempted murder. We need to call the police right now. And tell them what? That I overheard a conversation? That's not enough. They'll deny everything. Tun will claim I misunderstood. Nadia will cry and play the devoted wife. Samuel will say he was just discussing account security. Then what do you want to do? I want proof. Real, undeniable proof. I want to catch them in the act. I want them to confess on record. Whale leaned forward. And then I want to watch them go to prison for the rest of their lives. Obi studied his friend's face. Okay, I'm in. What do you need? First, these vitamins. Whale pulled out the morning capsules, wrapped in a napkin. Take them to a private lab. Get them analyzed. I need documentation that they're poison. Done. What else? I need to hire a private investigator. Someone discreet. Someone who can follow Nadia and Tun without being noticed. I know someone. Best PI in Lagos. Former police detective. And I need to meet with my real doctor, Dr. Kayamika Akoli at Evercare Hospital. But I can't let Nadia know. She thinks Dr. Kayamika is just my oncologist, but I need her to know about the poisoning. We'll arrange it. Anything else? Whale hesitated. I need to know if I'm losing my mind. If I really heard what I thought I heard last night. Record them somehow. Get them to talk about the plan again. Hidden cameras? Obi suggested. In my own house? Spy on my own wife. Whale, she's poisoning you. Spy away. They spent the next 2 hours planning. Obi would handle the lab analysis and the PI. Whale would continue his performance as a dying husband, taking the vitamins but disposing of them. How will you get rid of them without her noticing? Obi asked. I'll pretend to take them, palm them into my pocket or napkin, flush them later. She's going to notice you're not getting weaker. Then I'll act weaker. I'll pretend the poison is working. Whale's smile was cold. If they want to watch me die, I'll give them a show. Over the next week, Whale became an actor worthy of an Oscar. Every morning, Nadia gave him the vitamins. Every morning. He pretended to take them. Every day, he acted a little more tired, a little more weak. Darling, you look exhausted, Nadia would say with false concern. Maybe you should rest. I'm fine, he'd insist, then stumble slightly. Just dizzy. Her eyes would light up, barely noticeable, but Whale saw it now. Satisfaction. Her poison was working. Meanwhile, Obi's network swung into action. The lab results came back within 3 days. The report was damning. Capsules contained arsenic trioxide in doses designed to cause gradual organ failure mimicking cancer complications. Lethal over 4 to 6 week period. Whale stared at the report. There it was, in black and white, proof that his wife was killing him. We need to confront her, Obi said when Whale showed him the results. Not yet. I need more. The private investigator, a sharp-eyed woman named Mrs. Adeyemi, began following Nadia and Tund. Within 2 days, she had photos. Nadia and Tund at the Wheatbaker Hotel, checking into a room together, leaving 3 hours later. More photos at the George Hotel. At Radisson Blu, at an apartment in Lekki that Tund rented under a false name. They meet 3 times a week, Mrs. Adeyemi reported. They're not even subtle about it. Clearly believe they're safe. Because I'm supposed to be dying, Whale said bitterly. The surveillance continued. Obi arranged for tiny cameras to be installed throughout Whale's house by a tech expert. In the bedroom, living room, study. Anywhere the conspirators might talk freely. They'll never know they're there, the technician promised. Audio and video, all backing up to a secure cloud server. Within days, the cameras caught gold. Nadia on the phone in the bedroom while Whale was napping. He's getting weaker. Sleeps most of the day now. I think maybe 2 more weeks. Yes, Tund, I'm sure. I can't wait to leave this place. I can't wait to be with you. I love you, too. More footage of Nadia in the bathroom, counting out capsules from a hidden bottle in her makeup bag. The same capsules she gave Whale every morning. A meeting captured between Tund, Nadia, and Samuel at the house when Whale was supposedly at the doctor. Samuel, I prepared the account transfers. The moment he pronounced dead, I can have 7 billion naira offshore within hours. Tund, good. We'll give it 1 more week. Then we accelerate. Nadia, accelerate? How? Tund, double his dose. Tell him the doctor recommended it. He won't question you. Nadia, what if someone notices he died too fast? Tund, he has terminal cancer. Everyone expects him to die. We're just helping nature along. They laugh. Every word was captured. Every laugh. Every plan. Whale watched the footage with Obi in his friend's office, his face expressionless. I've seen enough, he finally said. What's the plan? I need to see Dr. Kayamaka. Tell her everything. Get her help for the next phase. Dr. Kayamaka Akoli was a brilliant oncologist in her late 30s. When Whale had been diagnosed with lung cancer 6 months ago, she'd been compassionate but honest. Stage 2, treatable with aggressive therapy. Your prognosis is good. He'd told Nadia it was stage 4, terminal. He'd wanted her comfort, her support. Instead, she'd seen an opportunity. Now, sitting in Dr. Kayamaka's office after hours, Whale laid out everything. The overheard conversation, the poison, the affair, the conspiracy. Dr. Kayamaka's professional composure cracked. Your wife is poisoning you. Yes, and I need your help. I should report this immediately. This is attempted murder. I will report it. But first, I need to catch them completely. No room for denial. And for that, Whale took a breath. I need to die. Excuse me? Fake my death. Make it look real enough that they believe it. Give them the chance to reveal themselves completely. Then resurrect and watch them face justice. Dr. Kayamaka stared at him. That's elaborate. They've been planning to kill me for months, maybe years. They deserve an elaborate punishment. I could lose my license. I'll protect you. Everything will be documented. Legal, but please, doctor, I need someone I can trust in the medical field. And right now, you're the only doctor I know who isn't trying to kill me. She considered for a long moment. Then, all right, tell me your plan. Meanwhile, at home, Whale continued his performance. One evening at dinner, Nadia brought up an idea. Darling, I've been thinking, with your condition worsening, maybe we should take a trip? Something relaxing? Dubai, perhaps? Dubai, where they plan to run with his money. I don't think I'm strong enough for international travel. Whale said weakly. Oh, of course. She hid her disappointment. Well, maybe when you're feeling better. You mean after I'm dead and you've stolen my billions? Whale thought, but he just smiled and took her hand. You're so good to me, Nadia. I don't know what I did to deserve you. You gave me a second chance, she said, eyes welling with crocodile tears. When I was young and stupid and left you for Tund, you forgave me, took me back, loved me anyway. I did love you anyway. He looked at her directly. I still do. It wasn't a lie. That was the cruelest part. Some part of him did still love the woman she'd been 20 years ago, the young girl he'd dreamed with, the partner he'd built hopes with. But that woman had never existed. Or if she had, she'd been murdered by greed long ago. "I love you too," Nadia said, kissing him. He kissed her back, tasting poison and lies. That night, lying in bed, Whale reviewed everything he'd gathered. Lab proof of arsenic in the vitamins photos of Nadia and tons of fair video of them planning his murder DR. Kayamika, willing to help fake his death ace secret, knew, well, that superseded Tun's version. The trap was almost ready. He picked up his phone and texted Obi. Time for the next phase. Let them think they're winning. Tomorrow, he'd tell Nadia and Tund he was feeling worse. He'd mention updating his will one more time. He'd give them what they wanted, the belief that their payday was coming soon. And while they celebrated his impending death, he'd be planning their destruction. In the darkness, Whale whispered to himself the mantra that had built his empire. Patience, planning, precision. They thought they were hunting a lion who didn't know he was prey. They didn't realize the lion knew and was hunting back. Whale has the evidence, the poison, the affair, the conspiracy on video. Smash that like and subscribe to AfricanTales by Zion. Next chapter is where Whale fake his death. They think they're winning. They have no idea. Turn on notifications. 2 weeks after discovering the conspiracy, Whale sat across from his real lawyer, a woman named Bar, Funmaleo Adeli, whom he'd hired in secret through Obi's connections. Her office was in Yaba, far from the expensive towers where Tun practiced. "I need you to understand something," Whale said. "Everything I'm about to ask you to do is legal. Unusual, but legal. I'm listening." Bar. Funmaleo was in her 50s, sharp-eyed and skeptical. Whale laid it all out. The conspiracy, the evidence, his plan to fake his death. "I need a new will drafted, one that supersedes the fake one Tun created. What should this new will say? Nothing to my wife. Nothing to Tun Williams. Nothing to Samuel Martins. I'm leaving everything to the Second Chance Foundation, a charitable trust I'm establishing today. The money will fund hospitals, orphanages, scholarships for underprivileged children." Bar. Funmaleo nodded approvingly. "That's a beautiful legacy. With one special provision. If my death is determined to be accelerated by poison, fraud, or foul play, all assets are immediately frozen pending criminal investigation, and all beneficiaries named in any previous wills, specifically Nadia Bakir, are disqualified and subject to prosecution. So if she kills you for the money, she gets nothing but a prison cell." Whale's smile was cold. The will was drafted, signed, and filed within hours. Tun had no idea it existed. His carefully crafted document, leaving everything to Nadia, was now worth less than the paper was printed on. Back at home, Whale's performance reached new heights. "I'm so tired all the time," he told Nadia at breakfast, barely touching his food. "And these headaches are getting worse. Maybe we should call Dr. Kayamika?" Nadia suggested, her concern perfectly acted. "No hospitals. I hate hospitals. I'll be fine." That evening, he overheard Nadia on the phone. "He's deteriorating faster than expected. Maybe a week. Yes, everything is ready." Good. Let them think victory was close. Meanwhile, Obi coordinated the installation of additional surveillance equipment. The technician set up cameras in Tun's office, access through a late-night break-in that left no traces, and in Samuel's bank office, hidden in a decorative plant delivered as a gift. Within days, they had footage of Tund and Samuel meeting. Tund, "The wife says one more week." Samuel, "Account transfers are programmed. Just waiting for the death certificate." Tund, "You'll get your cut. 1.5 billion. That should keep you comfortable." Samuel, "And no one will trace the offshore transfers?" Tund, "I've been moving money for criminals for 20 years. I know how to hide it." More evidence. More nails in their coffin. The hardest part was meeting with Tund face-to-face while knowing everything. "How are you feeling, brother?" Tund asked when he visited, his false concern perfected over years of practice. "Honestly, I think my time is coming." Whale let his voice crack. "I've been thinking about my legacy. About what I'm leaving behind. Don't talk like that. You've got time. Do I? Whale looked at him directly. Tund, I need you to promise me something. When I'm gone, take care of Nadia. She'll need support. A friend. Of course. You know I will. Tund's hand on Whale's shoulder felt like a snake. You've been such a good friend. The best. I don't know what I would have done without you these 5 years. That's what friends are for. Friends. The word tasted like poison. After Tund left, Whale vomited from disgust. The performance was costing him pieces of his soul. But it would be worth it. Dr. Kayamaka laid out the medical plan in a secure meeting. I can simulate death using a combination of sedatives and drugs that slow your heart rate and breathing to near undetectable levels. To anyone checking, you'll appear dead. No pulse, no breath, cold skin. For how long? I can keep you in that state for up to 4 hours safely. After that, we need to revive you where the risks increase exponentially. For hours is enough. Whale calculated. Time for them to celebrate, to reveal everything on camera, to incriminate themselves completely. And how do we explain your resurrection? Miracle misdiagnosis. Coma, not death. Something. We'll figure it out. The important thing is catching them in their moment of victory. Dr. Kayamaka shook her head in wonder. I've been a doctor for 15 years. I've never done anything like this. Think of it as saving a life. Because you are mine. The plan required precise choreography. Step 1. Whale would collapse at home. Step 2. Nadia would call an ambulance. Step 3. Dr. Kayamaka at Evercare Hospital would declare him dead. Step 4. Whale would be moved to a private room, actually a secure location, where he'd remain dead while cameras captured conspirators. Step 5. 4 hours later, dramatic misdiagnosis. He's actually alive. Step 6. Police move in with all the evidence. But first, they needed one more piece. Getting conspirators all together after his death. How do we guarantee they'll meet and talk? Obi asked. They'll meet to celebrate. Whale said. To plan their next moves. To count their money. We just need to make sure it happens somewhere we can record it. Your house, Obi suggested. After the body is taken away. Before the funeral. They'll feel safe there. Perfect. We leave the house cameras running. They'll think they're alone. They'll talk freely. Everything was set. The date was chosen. Friday, 3 weeks after Whale had discovered the conspiracy. Enough time to gather evidence. Not so long that he lost his nerve. Thursday night, Whale lay in bed beside Nadia, possibly for the last time. Tomorrow he would die. And when he came back, everything would be different. I love you, Nadia whispered in the darkness. No matter what happens. Whale closed his eyes. I know you do. Liar. Both of them. Lying to each other. Living in a house built on deception. But tomorrow, the lies would end. Tomorrow, truth would rise from the dead. Tomorrow, Whale dies. The cameras are rolling. The trap is perfect. Smash that like and subscribe to AfricanTales by Zion. Next chapter is the death scene and the perfect sting. You'll not believe what they say when they think he's gone. Turn on notifications. Friday morning started like any other. Nadia brought Whale his breakfast and vitamins. He went through his usual routine, palming the capsules, pretending to swallow. But today was different. Today, he added a performance. I don't feel well, he said, setting down his coffee cup with a shaking hand. Nadia, He clutched his chest and collapsed. The act was so convincing, even he almost believed it. Whale! Whale! Nadia's scream was perfectly pitched. She called for an ambulance, her voice breaking with just the right amount of panic. But Whale, lying on the floor with his eyes closed, heard something else beneath the panic. Excitement. The ambulance arrived within 10 minutes. Paramedics loaded him onto a stretcher. He kept his body limp, his breathing shallow. They hooked up monitors, checked vitals, blood pressure dropping, pulses weak. Get him to Evercare. Now. The ride was a blur of sirens and voices. Nadia sat beside him, holding his hand, crying, perfect wife, Perfect performance. At the hospital, Dr. Kamika took over. She briefed her trusted team, a nurse and an anesthesiologist who were in on the plan. Mrs. Bakir, please wait outside. We need to work. Once alone with Whale, Dr. Kayamika injected the cocktail of drugs they had prepared. This will slow your heart and breathing to almost nothing. You'll be completely paralyzed but conscious. Do you understand? Whale managed a tiny nod. You'll hear everything but won't be able to respond. It will feel like dying. But trust me, you're not dying. I'm monitoring everything. Okay. Another microscopic nod. The drugs hit his system like ice water. His heart slowed. His breathing became shallow, then almost stopped. His skin went cold. It felt exactly like dying. Through the haze, he heard Dr. Kamika's voice. I'm so sorry. I did everything I could. Time of death, 10:47 a.m. Nadia's wail of grief was award-worthy. They moved him to morgue, actually a private room Dr. Kamika had secured. His body was covered with a sheet. The cameras Obi had hidden in his clothes before the collapse were still recording. Through the chemical fog, Whale could hear everything but couldn't move, couldn't respond. Trapped in his own body. Truly helpless. He heard Nadia in the hallway on the phone. He's gone. It's done. Meet me at the house. We need to talk. The first crack in her grief. Hours passed. They must have removed his body from the hospital. He sensed movement, a vehicle, then stillness. When the sheet was pulled back, he was in the hospital's secure basement, not the morgue. Dr. Kayamika's face appeared above him. You're doing great. Your vitals are stable. Can you hear me? Blink once if you can. He couldn't blink. Don't worry. The paralysis is temporary. Just a bit longer. More time passed. Through the fog, he heard Obi's voice. The cameras at your house are live. They're there. All 3 of them. Then came the sound he'd been waiting for. Audio feed from his mansion. Nadia's voice. Is he really gone? Really dead? Tund. I saw the death certificate myself. Dr. Kayamika signed it. It's official. Samuel. So we can start the transfers? Tund. Not yet. We need to wait until after the funeral. Play the grieving widow a bit longer. Nadia, laughing, I can't believe it worked. 20 years. I've been waiting 20 years for this moment. Tund. You played your part perfectly, my love. The devoted wife, the heartbroken widow. Samuel. What about suspicions? Won't anyone question how fast he deteriorated? Tund. He had cancer. Everyone knows that. The autopsy, if there even is one, will show cancer complications. The arsenic is untraceable at the levels we used. Nadia, God, I'm so relieved. Do you know how hard it was waking up next to him every morning? Pretending to love him? Letting him touch me? Tund, but now he's gone, and we're 15 billion richer. Nadia, when do we leave for Dubai? Tund, 1 week. We play the supportive friend and grieving widow through the funeral. Then we vanish. New identities. New life. Everything we planned. Samuel, and my cut. Tund, 1.5 billion. Transferred to your account the day we leave. Silence. Then, Nadia. Can you believe he took me back? After I left him for you 20 years ago, I walked back into his life, said I made a mistake, and he just forgave me, married me, gave me everything. Tund, the sentimental fool. But that sentimentality just made us rich. Samuel, I almost felt bad. He was always nice to me. Tund, he was rich. That's what he was. And now that money is ours. The sound of glasses clinking. A toast. Nadia. To the late Chief Adewale Bakir. May he rest in peace. Tund. And may his billions rest in our accounts. More laughter. Celebratory. Cool. Lie in the basement. Technically dead. Whale felt something break inside him. Any remaining doubt. Any lingering hope that maybe he'd misunderstood. Maybe there was some explanation. Gone. They were monsters. All 3 of them. And they were celebrating his death like it was a holiday. Dr. Kayamika appeared beside him. We have Everything we need. The police are standing by. Time to bring you back. She injected the reversal drugs. Slowly, sensation returned. His heart rate increased. His breathing deepened. His fingers twitched. Life returning. 10 minutes later, Whale opened his eyes and sat up. How do you feel? Dr. Kayamika asked. Like I died and came back for revenge. Obi appeared in the doorway. The police are ready. They're waiting for your signal. Let's give them a few more minutes to dig themselves deeper. I want them comfortable, confident, convinced they've won. Back at the mansion, the celebration continued. The hidden cameras captured everything. Tund and Nadia kissing passionately on the couch where Whale used to sit. Samuel reviewing bank statements on Whale's computer in the study. The three of them toasting with Whale's expensive cognac. Nadia, should we go upstairs? To his bed. Tund, isn't that morbid? Nadia, laughing, he's dead. He'll never know. They didn't go upstairs. But the suggestion alone was captured on audio. Finally, Whale gave the signal. Now. The police had been parked 2 blocks away, waiting. Detective Sergeant Yomi Adewole and his team had reviewed all the evidence. The poison analysis, the affair photos, the conspiracy recordings, the bank fraud. But the crown jewel was the audio they just captured. The celebration of murder. The conspiracy laid bare. In their own words. Whale rode with them, fully alive, wearing a wire. This was it. The convoy of police vehicles rolled up to Whale's mansion just as the sun was setting. The gate was open. Nadia, Tund, and Samuel felt safe here. This was their victory party. Detective Adewole nodded to Whale. Ready? More than ready. The front door was unlocked. The police entered silently, spreading through the house. They could hear voices from the living room, still celebrating. Samuel, how long until we can access the accounts? Tund, the will goes to probate next week. As executor, I can fast-track. No need to fast-track anything. Whale's voice cut through the celebration. Since I'm not actually dead. The silence was absolute. Whale walked into his living room flanked by 6 police officers. 3 faces turned toward him. 3 mouths falling open in identical expressions of shock. Nadia dropped her glass. It shattered on the marble floor. Hello, wife, Whale said coldly. Surprised to see me? Whale, but you, the death certificate. Tund stood, face white. Signed by Dr. Kayamika under my instructions. Funny thing about dying, when you do it on purpose, you can come back. Samuel vomited on the spot. How? Nadia's voice was barely a whisper. You were dead. We saw. You saw what I wanted you to see. What you needed to see. Because I knew if you thought I was really dead, you'd reveal your true selves. Whale gestured to the cameras, still running. And you did. Every word. Every toast. Every laugh about my death. All recorded. Detective Adewole stepped forward. Nadia Bakir, Tund Williams. Samuel Martins, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, fraud, and embezzlement. This is illegal. Tund found his lawyer voice. Entrapment. Coercion. Nothing you recorded will stand up in court. Really. Whale pulled out his phone, playing back the audio from the house. Their voices filled the room. The arsenic is untraceable at the levels we used. 20 years I've been waiting for this moment. The sentimental fool just made us rich. Tund's face crumbled. That's your voice, counselor, Detective Adewole said. Discussing poisoning your client. I think a jury will find it very admissible. Officers moved in with handcuffs. Nadia lunged at Whale. You can't do this. I'm your wife. We can work this out. You're not my wife. Whale's voice was ice. You're a murderer who failed. There's a difference. Whale, please. She was crying now, genuine tears for the first time. I do love you. I made a mistake. Tund pressured me. He threatened me. That's a lie. Tund shouted. This was her plan. She came to me. She wanted your money. And there it was, turning on each other. No honor among thieves. Samuel broke completely. I didn't want to do it. They made me. They promised me money. I'm sorry, Chief. I'm sorry. Save it for the judge, Detective Adewole said, snapping handcuffs on each of them. As they were led away, Nadia looked back one last time. After everything I did for you, everything we were, everything you were, Whale corrected, was a lie. 20 years ago, 5 years ago, every day of our marriage. You never loved me. You loved my money. And now you'll spend the next 20 years in prison thinking about the billions you'll never touch. The police vehicles drove away, carrying the conspirators to jail. Whale stood in his empty mansion, surrounded by police and friends. Obi appeared at his side. It's over, Obi said quietly. It's over, Whale agreed, but it didn't feel like victory. It felt like loss. The home he'd built with blood, sweat, and tears had been invaded by vipers. The love he believed in had been poisoned from the start. He'd survived, but survival came at a cost. Dr. Kamek arrived, having followed the police. How are you feeling? Alive. Whale managed a smile. Thanks to you. We need to run tests. Make sure the arsenic didn't cause permanent damage. Tonight, I just need to breathe. As the house emptied, Whale walked through the rooms. Each one held memories. Some real, most fake. In the bedroom, he looked at the bed he'd shared with a woman who'd been planning his murder. In the kitchen, the counter where she prepared his poisoned breakfast. In the study, the desk where Tun had drafted a fraudulent will. I need to sell this place, he said to no one. Fresh start, Obi suggested. Something like that. They'd won. The evidence was overwhelming. The confessions were recorded. The conspiracy was exposed. But Whale felt no joy, only exhaustion. He died today, officially, and in a way he had died. The trusting man who believed in second chances and the goodness of people. That man was gone. In his place was someone harder. Someone who looked death in the face and won. But at what cost? He's alive. He walked into their celebration, and they nearly died from shock. Smash that like and subscribe to AfricanTales by Zion. The Trial and Justice. They're going to prison. Final chapter reveals what happens to the billions, and whether Whale finds peace. Turn on notifications. The trial lasted 3 months, but everyone knew the outcome from day one. The evidence was too overwhelming. The conspirators' own words damned them. Whale attended every session, sitting in the gallery, watching as his life became public entertainment. The media had a field day. Billionaire fakes death to catch killers. The courthouse was packed daily with spectators eager for drama. On the stand, the prosecution presented everything methodically. The lab analysis of the vitamins showing lethal levels of arsenic. The photos of Nadia and Tun at hotels throughout Lagos. The video surveillance from Whale's home showing them discussing conspiracy. The audio recording of their celebration after his death. The most damning evidence came from their own words, played for the jury. Nadia's voice. 20 years I've been waiting for this moment. Tun's voice. The sentimental fool just made us rich. Samuel's voice. When can we access the accounts? The defense tried everything. Tun hired the most expensive lawyers in Lagos. They argued entrapment, illegal surveillance, coercion. But when the prosecution played the recording of them toasting to Whale's death, the jury's faces said it all. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Nadia's lawyer took a different approach. The abused woman defense. My client was manipulated by Tun Williams. Her lawyer argued. He was her former lover, her abuser. He pressured her into this conspiracy through threats and emotional control. But then the prosecution played video of Nadia laughing about Whale's death. Nadia suggesting they celebrate in his bed. Nadia counting out poison capsules with a smile. Does she look abused? The prosecutor asked the jury. Or does she look like a woman who chose greed over her husband's life? Samuel, the weakest link, tried to turn state's witness. He confessed everything, hoping for a reduced sentence. They promised me 1.5 billion naira, he sobbed on the stand. I have 3 children. School fees. Debt. I was desperate. So you helped murder a man for money? The prosecutor asked. I didn't think about it like that. I needed the money. Your children needed a father who wasn't a criminal. Now they'll grow up visiting you in prison. The jury deliberated for less than 6 hours. The sentencing hearing was held on a Tuesday morning. The courtroom was so packed that people stood in the hallways, trying to hear through the doors. Whale sat in the front row, flanked by Obi and Dr. Kayamaka. His face showed no emotion. He'd prepared himself for this moment. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s named Justice Adbimp Ogunlai, reviewed the case summary. Then she looked at the 3 defendants with undisguised disgust. "I have served on the bench for 30 years, she began. "I have seen every kind of crime. But this case represents something particularly vile, the betrayal of trust by those closest to the victim." She turned to Samuel first. "Mr. Martins, you were entrusted with Chief Becare's financial security. He gave you access to billions, believing you would protect his wealth. Instead, you conspired to steal it. You facilitated attempted murder for money. Your greed has destroyed your family and your reputation." Samuel's head was bowed, tears streaming. "I sentence you to 15 years in prison for fraud, conspiracy to commit murder, and embezzlement. You will serve a minimum of 12 years before eligibility for parole." Samuel's wife wailed from the gallery. His children, teenagers, sat stone-faced. Next, the judge turned to Tund. "Barrister Williams, you are perhaps the most culpable. As a lawyer, you were sworn to uphold the law. Instead, you perverted it. You drafted fraudulent documents. You conspired to murder your own client. You recruited others into your criminal enterprise. And you did it all with the arrogance of someone who believed he was untouchable." Tund stood rigid, jaw clenched. "You have brought shame to the legal profession. You have betrayed every oath you ever took, and you will pay the price." Justice Ogunlai's voice hardened. "I sentence you to 25 years in prison for attempted murder, conspiracy, fraud, and abuse of professional duty. You will serve a minimum of 20 years before eligibility for parole. Additionally, you are hereby disbarred from practicing law in Nigeria. Permanently." Tund's legs buckled. Guards caught him before he fell. Finally, the judge turned to Nadia. "Mrs. Becare, or should I say, Mrs. Johnson, since your marriage was built on fraud, you are a study in calculated cruelty." Nadia looked up, her eyes red from days of crying. 20 years ago, you left Chief Becare for Mr. Williams because the accused had money and the victim did not. When Chief Becare became wealthy, you orchestrated a reunion, married him, and then, when he became ill, you saw opportunity. You didn't just betray your husband. You poisoned him. Daily. For months. While he trusted you. While he loved you. Justice Ogunlai's voice shook with anger. You administered arsenic like it was medicine. You slept beside the man you were murdering. You played the devoted wife while plotting his death. There are no words adequate to describe this level of treachery. Nadia was sobbing now. "Please. I'm sorry. I made terrible choices. But I do love him. I do." "You love his money," the judge interrupted. "You have never loved anything else. And now you will spend the next 20 years in prison contemplating that choice. I sentence you to 20 years for attempted murder, conspiracy, and fraud. You will serve a minimum of 17 years before eligibility for parole." The gavel fell. Nadia screamed. Tund stood in silence. Samuel vomited again. They were led away in chains, their designer clothes replaced with prison jumpsuits, their comfortable lives over. Whale watched them go. Felt nothing. Not satisfaction. Not vindication. Just emptiness. Outside the courthouse, media swarmed. "Chief Becare, how does it feel to get justice? Are you satisfied with the sentences? What will you do now?" Whale faced the cameras. "I'm satisfied that justice was served. These people tried to kill me for my money. Now they'll spend decades in prison thinking about the billions they'll never touch. What about your wealth? Your estate? That's the beautiful part." Whale smiled for the first time. "They wanted my money so badly. Killed for it. Schemed for it. Dreamed about it. And they'll never see a single naira. Why not? Because I've given away." The press conference that followed explained everything. 2 weeks before his death, Whale had established the Second Chance Foundation. He'd transferred a majority of his wealth, nearly 12 billion naira, into an irrevocable charitable trust. The foundation would fund Cancer treatment for those who couldn't afford it, scholarships for children from poor background small business, loans for entrepreneurs. Like Whale had been 20 years ago, support for victims of financial fraud. They tried to steal my money to live in luxury. Whale explained to the assembled media. Instead, my money will give life to thousands. Cancer patients will get treatment. Poor kids will get education. People trying to build businesses will get their chance. What about you? A journalist asked. Don't you want to enjoy your wealth? I kept enough to live comfortably. A small house. A modest life. I don't need billions. I never did. I built that wealth because I could, because I was good at it. But it was never the point. Then what was the point? Whale thought about that. Survival. Pride. Maybe revenge against the woman who left me 20 years ago. He smiled sadly. Turns out those aren't great reasons to build an empire. 6 months later, Whale stood at the opening ceremony for the Second Chance Medical Center, a state-of-the-art cancer hospital in Lagos, funded entirely by his foundation. Dr. Kayamaka was chief medical officer. She left her private practice to run the hospital, treating patients regardless of their ability to pay. This is incredible, she said, looking at the gleaming building. We're going to save so many lives here. That's the idea. Whale smiled. They wanted to take life. We're giving it. Obi appeared, having just finished consulting with the foundation's investment board. The foundation is solid. The trust is ironclad. Even if those three ever get out of prison, they can never touch this money. Good. How are you feeling? Really, Whale considered. Better. The arsenic is out of my system. Dr. Kayamaka says my cancer is in remission. Ironically, the stress of the conspiracy probably accelerated my treatment, made me more aggressive about fighting it. And emotionally, I'm working on it. Therapy, meditation, forgiveness. Forgiveness? Obi raised an eyebrow. For myself, for being stupid enough to trust her twice. Whale watched the ceremony. Children from the local orphanage, cancer survivors, community members. But I'm getting there. He'd visited the prison once. Just once. To see Nadia. She looked terrible. Thinner. Older. The beauty that had once captivated him faded by prison life. Why did you come? She'd asked through the glass partition. Closure. Or maybe to understand. After everything. The lies, the poison, the conspiracy. I need to know. Did you ever love me? At all? Even a little? She looked away. I don't know. Maybe at the beginning. 20 years ago, there was something real. But Tun was rich and you weren't, and I chose money. And when you became rich, I chose money again. So that's all I ever was to you? A bank account. I wish I could tell you different. Give you some romantic answer about conflicted feelings and tragic circumstances. But the truth is... She met his eyes. I'm exactly what the judge said. Someone who loves money more than people. And I'm sorry. Not sorry I got caught. Sorry that I'm like this. Sorry that I destroyed you twice. You didn't destroy me. Whale stood to leave. You tried. But I survived. I'm still here. Building. Living. Giving. And you're in prison. So who really lost? He'd walked away and never looked back. 1 year after the trial, Whale attended a graduation ceremony at the Foundation Scholarship Program. 20 students from poor backgrounds, now university graduates, thanks to his money. One of them, a young woman named Blessing, gave a speech. Chief Bakir gave me a second chance, she said. My parents couldn't afford school fees. I was going to drop out, but the foundation paid for everything. Now I'm a qualified accountant with a job at one of the big four. I'm going to make something of my life. And it's because someone I never met decided that his money should help people like me. After the ceremony, Blessing approached Whale. Thank you for everything. You earned it. I just paid the fees. Can I ask you something? Why did you do this? Give away billions. Whale thought about his answer. Because 3 people tried to kill me for that money. And I realized money that inspires murder shouldn't be hoarded. It should be shared, used for good, used to give other people second chances. Like you got. Exactly like I got. 2 years after the trial, Whale met someone. Her name was Bolano, and she was a doctor who volunteered at the Second Chance Medical Center. She had no idea who Whale was beyond the founder who sometimes visits. They met over coffee in the hospital cafeteria, talked about medicine, about life, about everything except money. "I like you," she said after their third date. "You're normal, grounded, real." "I'm a billionaire," he admitted. She laughed. "Sure you are. And I'm the Queen of England. I'm serious. Google me." She did. Her face went white. "You're that cheap a care? The one whose wife tried to poison him." "The very one." "And you're interested in me?" "Why?" "Because you had no idea who I was. You like me for me. Do you know how rare that is?" They took it slow, very slow. Whale was learning to trust again, and it was hard. Every meal Bolano cooked, he wondered if it was poisoned. Every loving gesture made him question motives. But gradually, through therapy and time, he healed. 3 years after trial, he proposed. Simple ring, simple ceremony, just friends and family. Obi was best man. "You sure about this?" he asked before the wedding. "No," Whale admitted, "but I'm sure I don't want to die alone and bitter. I'm sure I want to try again. And I'm sure she's nothing like Nadia." "How do you know?" "Because she signed a prenup without hesitation. Because she has her own career. Because when I offered to buy her a house, she said no. She wants to keep her apartment and her independence." "Sounds like a keeper." "She is." The wedding was small and joyful. No lavish celebration. No society guests. Just the people who mattered. And when Whale kissed his new wife, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. 5 years after the trial, Whale visited the prison one final time. Not to see Nadia, but to see Tund. The lawyer looked broken. Prison had aged him 20 years. His arrogance was gone, replaced by hollow despair. "Why are you here?" Tund asked. "To tell you something." Whale sat across from him. "I forgive you." Tund stared. "What?" "I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I refuse to carry hatred for the rest of my life. You tried to kill me. You failed. You're in prison. That's justice. But forgiveness? That's for me, not you. I don't understand." "You don't have to. I just needed you to hear it." Whale stood. "I've built a good life, Tund. A real life, with people who love me for me, with purpose beyond money, with legacy beyond wealth." "You won." Tund's voice was bitter. "No, I survived. There's a difference." Whale turned to leave, then paused. "In another life, we could have been real friends, but you chose greed, and greed destroys everything it touches. Does it feel good?" Tund called after him. "Having the moral high ground?" "No." Whale looked back. "It feels necessary. That's all." He walked out of prison and into the Lagos sunshine, feeling lighter. 10 years after the trial, Whale stood at the 10th anniversary celebration of the Second Chance Foundation. The foundation had grown beyond his wildest dreams. 5 hospitals across Nigeria, thousands of scholarships awarded, hundreds of businesses funded, tens of thousands of lives changed. He was 65 now, healthy, happy, remarried with 2 stepchildren he adored. In his speech, he talked about survival and legacy. 20 years ago, the woman I loved left me for a richer man. It broke me, but I rebuilt, became wealthy, proved everyone wrong. 10 years ago, that same woman, now my wife, tried to poison me with my lawyer and banker's help. They wanted my billions. They wanted me dead. But I refused to die, not from cancer, not from poison, not from betrayal. I faked my death, caught them, watched them go to prison. And then I gave away the money they killed for. Because I learned something. Money that inspires murder shouldn't be hoarded. It should heal. It should help. It should give hope. They wanted my billions for luxury. I gave my billions for life. They wanted to bury me. Instead, I built hospitals. They wanted to rob my legacy. Instead, I created one. That's the difference between greed and purpose. Greed destroys. Purpose creates. The applause was thunderous. After the ceremony, Bolanel, his wife of 7 years, squeezed his hand. "I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us." He kissed her forehead. Building this life together. No regrets. He thought about Nadia, still in prison with 13 years left on her sentence. About Tund, who'd recently been denied parole. About Samuel, who'd been released on medical grounds after stroke left him partially paralyzed. I regret trusting the wrong people. I regret wasting 5 years on a false marriage. But I don't regret surviving. I don't regret fighting back. And I don't regret giving the money away. Even though you could be even richer, I don't need richer. I need purpose. And I found it. As they walked to their car, a modest sedan, not the luxury vehicles of his previous life, Whale thought about the journey. From poor young man to billionaire to murder target to survivor to philanthropist. From believing in fairy tale romance to experiencing betrayal to finding real love. From hoarding G wealth to giving it away. "You know what the best part is?" he said to Bolanel. "What?" "They try to kill me for money I don't even have anymore. They're in prison for stealing wealth that's now feeding orphans and curing cancer patients. The irony is perfect." She laughed. "Karma is beautiful." "No," Whale corrected. "Justice is beautiful. Karma is just the universe catching up." They drove home to their modest house. Not a mansion, just a comfortable 4-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood. No servants, no luxury, just peace. That night, lie in bed, Whale reflected on his mortality. The cancer was still in remission, but he was 65. Death would come eventually, naturally this time. But when it did, he'd leave behind something real. Hospitals bearing his name that would treat patients for generations. Scholarships that would educate thousands. Businesses that would employ hundreds. A legacy of giving, not hoarding. Not bad for a kid from Suralere who started with nothing, he whispered. "What was that?" Bolanel murmured, half asleep. "Nothing, just grateful." "For what?" "For second chances. For survival. For you." She smiled and drifted back to sleep. Whale lay awake a bit longer, thinking about the 3 people who'd tried to destroy him. They'd wanted his death to be their beginning. Instead, it became their end. While he, the man they'd poisoned, betrayed, and underestimated, had turned their greed into grace, their conspiracy into charity, their attempted murder into a monument of mercy. They'd tried to bury him. They didn't know he was a seed. And seeds don't die. They grow into forests, into legacies, into life. Chief Adewale Bakare closed his eyes and slept peacefully, knowing that while some legacies are built on wealth, the best ones are built on what you give away. The end. Justice served. 20 to 25 years in prison. Whale gave away the billions they tried to steal and built hospitals and schools. If this story taught you about greed, betrayal, and the ultimate revenge through giving, smash that subscribe for African Tales by Zion. Comment. Would you forgive like Whale? Would you give away billions? Share this story about how the man they tried to bury became a legacy they could never touch. Remember, what you do in the dark will always come to light. And sometimes the best revenge is living well and giving even better. Turn on notifications for more African tales that will make you think, feel, and believe in justice. Until next time, stay blessed and remember, greed destroys, but purpose creates.